Hello Year 10, this is Mrs Oldacre. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of skill development to help you get the best possible marks in your GCSE questions. We're going to be focusing today on those Part 5 evaluation questions, which are worth 12 marks, so half of the marks. And we have found that those pupils who do better in the GCSE RS exam are the ones who have really worked on improving their skills in answering these quite tricky evaluation questions. So if you remember, this is nothing new. We have talked about this MAC technique before. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes just going over that again, just to refresh your memory, so that when you are set some evaluation questions by your teacher over the next week or so, you can refer back to this, and that should help you improve your answers and get as many of those 12 marks as you can. So if you remember, these evaluation questions, Part 5s, will always start with a quote. So something like, if God were all loving, there would be no suffering in the world, or the resurrection is more important than the incarnation. And what you need to do is have a think about why some people would agree with that statement, why some people might disagree with it, consider your viewpoints, and make sure that you're referring to religious points of view. Now, we know that the two religions that we study in GCSE, Sikhism and Christianity, so that you need to make sure that you are referring to the relevant religion when you're answering one of these questions. So, looking at the MAC technique then to help you answer your question. The first paragraph that you need to write needs to refer to the M, which is for your own view based on the learning that you have done in lessons. So what do you already know from your learning about Sikhism and about Christianity, which will help inform your view in that first paragraph? So a good way of starting this paragraph is actually setting out what you think in response to that quote. So do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you partly agree or partly disagree? So a way to start that paragraph would be something along the lines of, I agree with this statement because, and then you'd give a reason, and then in addition to that you would say Sikhs believe this if it's the Sikhism paper, or Christians believe this if it's the Christianity paper. Once you've done that and you've given several reasons for your answer and your view, you then move on to the second part, the second paragraph, which is the alternative view, the A of MAC. Here you're giving a different view to the one that you've given in the first paragraph. So an alternative view, it doesn't have to be the opposite view. So if you said agree here, it doesn't need to be exactly opposite and a disagree. It might be partially different, so it might be I partly agree or I partly disagree. So here you need to say what other people might say that is different to what you have said in your first paragraph. So you might start your sentence here, for example, however, others might say, and then here you would list your reasons that you have to explain what other people might say in response to that same quote. So you've got the M, which is your own view, backed up with some reasons and evidence, and then you've got a different view. So you've got two different points of view here explained. And then finally, up to those 6 marks, we have the conclusion paragraph. So you're making a judgment based on the information that you gave on your view, and then the alternative view. In conclusion, do you think that that statement in the question is right or wrong? And then obviously that really important, because giving a reason why you've made that particular judgment. That, if done well and given lots of reasons and lots of evidence from your learning, the examiner should be able to see that you have a really clear knowledge and understanding of Sikhism or Christianity, and you're able to give reasons for your viewpoint. That should get you up to 6 marks, giving 2 points of view. However, we want to push ourselves, don't we? We want to get even more marks than the 6 because we want to get as close to those 12 marks as possible. So what we must ensure we do, first of all, is to get more than 6 marks, you must refer to a religious points of view. So if it's the Sikhism paper, you must refer to Sikhism. If it's the Christianity paper, you must refer to Christianity. To get even more marks than 6, we need to be adding extra paragraphs in between the M, the A and the C. So once you have done the first paragraph, the my view based on your learning, you've given lots of reasons, then what you need to do is you need to do the plus paragraph, which is giving even more arguments, even more evidence to really support your viewpoint, to back it up, to really prove to the person who's reading your answer you are right. Your view, whether you agree or disagreed with that statement, you partly agreed, partly disagreed, there's so much evidence backing it up, it's going to be really difficult for anybody to argue back with you because you're correct. Moving on, you go to your alternative view, and after that paragraph, you would then do the cross paragraph. Now, this is really tricky to do. It's a really difficult skill, but I want you to have a go and practice it. It's something that does take quite a while to get used to, but I would like you to have a go because this really does make the difference between those 6 marks and getting into those sort of top realms of 10, 11 and 12 marks. So you give your alternative view, what people might say that's different to your initial view, and then you need to say why you reject this alternative view. Why do you think this alternative view is not as good as your view? What is it about it which makes it weaker? What is it about it that makes it not hold the same importance as your view? Why is the evidence weaker? That helps you say why you think your view is better. So you're saying your view is stronger, the alternative view is a weaker view. That allows you to show that you are critically analysing and evaluating your view and also the alternative view, which gets you into those top marks. And then finally, once you've done that cross paragraph and you've rejected the alternative view, you then move on to your conclusion, where, like a set of scales, you're making a judgment. So you're weighing up both sides of the argument. You're weighing up your view, you're weighing up the alternative view, and then you're coming to a conclusion. Do you think that the statement that was given, that quote in that question, would you say it is right or wrong based on the discussions that you have just outlined in your answer? And hopefully that should enable you to get those 12 marks. So let's just apply that to a question. So the type of question that you could have on paper 1 in the Christianity section, the quote is, if God were all loving, there would be no suffering in the world. And the question is set out like this. So it says, evaluate this statement. And then it gives you a list of what you should include in your answer. So you must refer to Christian teaching. So remember, you must refer to religious points of view. So religious teaching could be something that's written in the Bible, or it could be something in the Apostles' Creed. For example, it says, give developed arguments to support this statement, and give developed arguments to support a different point of view. So you can see how our structure here enables you to do that. When it's talking about a developed argument, it's asking you to give reasons for your point of view, to give additional arguments to really back up what you're saying, but also a developed argument is giving an alternative view and then rejecting it. So can you explain why some arguments are stronger, some arguments are weaker, some reasons are valid, some aren't as valid? And then finally, the last thing it asks you to do is to reach a justified conclusion. Can you make that judgment? Not just say, I think that statement is right and wrong, but can you actually reach a justified one where you're balancing out which evidence is the strongest. Hopefully, if you follow these guidance here, that should help you achieve as close to that 12 marks as possible and give you a really good chance of getting a higher grade in the GCSE. So I want you to look out for some questions that are going to be set over the next week or so, and then I'd like you to submit those to your RS teacher, and then they can have a look and give you some feedback as a class based on how they think you are doing and whether we need to do anything more to develop these Part 5 evaluation skills. Thank you very much. Take care.